show speed as like a Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
And then you think of these girls as Instagram models.
So do you think it's important to just live in a lane?
Well, kind of. I mean, clearly the names of the apps are tied into these titles.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a Twitch streamer, I'm an Instagram model. It's clear that it's like,
It's almost occupational.
yes.
That's fascinating. I never really thought about that aspect of it.
Twitch is definitely occupational because of the financial route.
Yes. Well, and I've heard many things about, like, I'm just starting to dip my toes into this aspect of the game. But I've heard, like, you need to have a separate PayPal and all that shit just to make sure that you're not, that you're not going to get, like, duped somehow.
Oh, yeah. The hoops that those guys jump through, it seems like, it's like they're doing the legwork to be like, I'm gonna make my money being on the internet.
Damn straight. Cheers, brother. Thanks for coming back.
Absolutely, brother. Thanks for having me back.
The beautiful motherfucking Nick Heffron.
Back here on the Weekly Wave.
Yeah, on a current pod tour as well, dude. I saw
pod tour.
You put like 4 seeds on Facebook that just blew up comment streams. It was like, what's your podcast? How you like your chili, and like 2 other things where I was like, oh, this guy's going to break the internet today. He's just sitting at home having a good ass time, like probably still on the toilet. That's where I do all my damage.
Yeah.
Strictly on Call of Duty Mobile. That's what I really want to be notified as. Like, music's cool, podcasts are cool. Call of Duty Mobile's my shit.
Yeah. Well, wearing the Bengals thing, I kind of feel the same way about football. It's like when the football season starts, I'm kind of like, yay, football's around. And then, like, by the end of the football season, I feel like I could be a fucking commentator. Or I could be a fucking coach or something. Like,
do you really go that deep? Did you ever play?
No, I never played. So that's the thing. It's like I played and I watched football, like, growing up, and I played in the neighborhood and everything. I played baseball, basketball. I played those sports, and I was always, like, the biggest kid.
Yeah.
And, like, they would put me on my grade school football team without me even, like, signing up. They'd be like, Coach called your name last night. Why weren't you there? I was like, why wasn't I where?
Yeah.
And they're like, football. I'm like, I don't play football.
Dude, that's outrageous. So,
because, like, if I was the biggest kid, I would just be lineman all the time. I don't
or
just want
tight
to
end
hit stuff.
Tight end's a pretty glorious spot. Like, sometimes you're a lineman, but you get short touchdown passes.
Sure.
You also take the meanest blocks straight to the dome.
I know, but, like, at that age, when you're that big, you're pretty much just like a center.
Yeah.
Or, like,
which is a bad
defensive
situation.
Tackle.
Dude, I was just thinking the other day of, like, you live your whole life playing these sports thinking that you're going to get to the top level. What percentage do you think get injured in grade school ball that really thought that they had the chance? Like, the threshold of players reaching the NFL or the XFL or any of the pro leagues, how many have just fallen by the wayside because they had, like, a career-ending injury at a really, like, inopportune time? Like, way less sexy than the other ones. Like, 6th grade, you had your thumb broken clean off.
Yep.
And they didn't put it back on because they thought it'd be cool for it,
Well, I've always said that about, like, the guys that actually make it to the NFL. It's not just about, like, the talent. It's the fact that they survived the entire thing.
Yeah.
These guys have been in pads since they were, like, 4th grade, 5th grade, going to practice 3 times a week. And for one, I hated going to baseball practice. I hated going to basketball practice. I hated doing, like, layup drills and stuff like that. I wanted to be in the game.
Yeah.
And I also, like, shot around a bunch at my house. So, like, it was like, all right, we're going to shoot around now. It's like, I do this all the time.
Yeah, like, can we get into this shit? Can we scrimmage?
Right.
Like,
right.
Also being the tallest guy, it's like, I want to yam on somebody, actually.
Yeah.
Like, someone's going to get posterized today.
Right.
How much would you compare that to folks that were in bands their whole life growing up and got so tainted on the idea of their bands breaking up that they just stopped doing it? People that would be excellent songwriters.
Fuck. I mean, I know a lot of those guys personally.
Yeah.
I mean, guys that, like, guys I knew personally that are still fantastic songwriters to this day that, something happened to them and it made them bitter. And, like, now I see them out in the world and everything. And I'm just like, man, you could have really, like, done some shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's always that what if thing. It's like, man, if you would have just kept with the ball, you could have You could have made it to the big leagues, buddy. It's like, or I could have been in high school and like tore my ACL and then it never fully recovered. I never ran the same.
Well, it's weird to poke and prod at those people knowing that, like, hey, I'm over here doing the same thing. I'm just as persistent as you could be. And it's not like things are popping off for me. I'm just telling you, it's like, it's an outlet that I want to hear from you. You know, like
right, exactly.
For a while, like our relationship was me being like, when am I gonna hear these tunes, Nick?
Yeah.
And now we're at this point where not only have you know, really put your nose to it and you have a great body of work that's sitting there that I'm still waiting to hear, but you're also doing the same thing with the tap house gigs.
Sure.
Where it's like you're poking at people to try to find that potential, even knowing that what's the potential worth in the end of it? It's like, do you get free college tuition? No.
Who cares?
You know, do you get people like, I care, you know? There's days where it hurts and there's days where it feels good. Like,
sure. But like, you know, it's like if you just worry about that too much, then it takes all the fun out of it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I wasted years doing that. I wasted years just being like, these songs don't deserve to see the light of the world until I have a fucking, you know, super fucking awesome studio to track them in. And when they're like super finished and when I'm never working on them, but I need them to be super finished. And it's like, I'm just pretty much defeating myself.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I just like shut up and just like get on the stage and just do it.
Especially when it
All of a
comes
sudden,
to like,
I did it one time and like some guy was like, hey, I really like that one song. And I was like, shit, no one's ever even heard that song. I didn't think anyone was going to like it.
Yeah.
Some random guy said, I like that.
yeah. But when you put it
change
up
your life.
against hits in your own set, when you start to find out, like, what's the merit of this? Like, people around the first listen, you know, there's a way lower threshold to enjoyment when you've heard the song 1,000 times. You know, a couple of lyrics, you can sing that chorus with me, bada bing, bada boom. You think you love that song, even if you actually don't. It's just catchy enough.
Yeah.
So when you start inserting your own material in there to compete, and on first listens, you're getting that kind of reaction. It's like, that is the merit of song to songwriter to listener. It's like, it feels so much more genuine when it comes from the guy that just wrote this fucking today.
Sure.
And it still hurts. And it still has that visceral feeling to it.
Right. And I've been kind of seeing that with hosting the open mic, of just seeing like, you know, I've spent so much time, you know, you do the same. It's like if you didn't have the muse and you didn't have these outlets that you did let these other people into your life, you would just be playing like solo and with the band all the time.
Yeah.
You would just get this kind of tunnel vision view of the world where it's like, it's just my shit. That's all I know.
Yeah.
It's like, there's other people out there doing stuff, but I don't have the time to listen to their shit. I'm too busy gigging and, you know, trying to live.
Not only that, but there's no sound of the city when you are insulated like that.
Right.
You know, like what I really love about, you know, going to an open mic that's strong like that or having the muse is when someone comes in with a song that I fucking feel, I'm going to go home and try to make my version of that. You know, like it's just part of the game of catch that you play with other songwriters. Like, we're all imitating in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a premise or whether it's a feeling or just a chord motion. It's like, I saw something in there tonight that unlocked this thing for me.
Yep.
And it's weird how much legwork has to go into finding those moments. Like, like the Tap House is a awful sounding room.
Terrible.
In a difficult part of town. But in a short month, you've taken this thing from being like, all right, there's some regulars that come by to being part of that scene.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was very kind of...
We're just starting, baby. We're just starting.
I thought it was kind of Jordan to put that post saying like, hey, in the moments I was gone, this thing popped off, so I'll take my hands off and I'll let it be someone else's baby, because what's best for the music community is for this thing to flourish.
Yeah.
You know, and for the guy to come back into the scene after 2 months on a boat, it's like, no, let's just hand this thing off and see how it runs.
Yeah, and that was a really mature thing of him to do. Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan's a guy that I've butted heads with and I've had really good times with. And it's like, I think there's a lot of songwriters in that caliber, too, that it takes a special kind of person to host the open mic and to encourage beginners and challenge veterans at the same stage in the same nights. And sometimes it just takes some change of the reins to do that.
That's so crazy that you said that, because Megan Wren brought in some of her students one night, and you know, these are students that she's teaching guitar to, And she's like, yeah, my students are going to come up with me. And I said, cool. So you're going to sing and then they're just going to play along with you. And she said, no, set them up a microphone. And I was like, oh,
Rip it.
okay. She's like, yeah, no, I teach them like, we're going to play the song. But after you got the song, it's like, all right, these are the words. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Guitar teachers don't do that.
No, normal guitar teachers don't.
Exactly.
You get someone that's highly motivated in the trenches of their own work, then you get something like that.
Right.
But
because most guitar teachers are just very competent at the guitar, and they'll be like, I'm not a singer. There's plenty of those guys.
yeah, what do you think the landscape of instructional has changed? Where like, I don't see many kids taking typical drum lessons anymore or typical guitar lessons. It's more like, oh, I want help with production. I'll figure out the guitar thing later. I want help with songwriting. I'll figure out the singing thing later.
Oh, dude, there are these kids on the internet. Have you seen these kids that do these live stream production things that like they do like these speed things? They like create these beats and it's all based on muscle memory. So like these kids will just like create like these little melodies that be like gotta, like builds it real quick, and it's like these like speed runs of them creating these beats.
Dude, they've taken
like,
Mario
Logic
into the music production world.
Yeah, straight up.
That's
and like,
wild.
And like you'll like see them mess it up, and they'll go back. They'll like try to get the first 4 bars, and they go back, and they're like they just keep on doing it again, and you can clearly see that this is like all muscle memory.
Yeah.
Like it's just like a speed run, and they're like, oh, cool, that was like my fastest run this time, and they play the beat, and it comes out.
So
and it's in like
they
10
made
seconds.
the song before, and then they've broken it down and relearned it in that way.
Right, and it's just like, how fast can I build it from literally like nothing, and they like have all their hotkeys and everything, and they build the entire thing like that. Like,
well,
that
how much
fast.
does that compare to what you and I do with the looper? It's like, especially when I'm running my own tunes, it's like, all right, there's a certain amount of time where this goes from being entertained to watch to a fucking gimmick.
Yes.
So I'm trying to get into the meat of this thing as
Me
quickly
too.
as possible.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, but it kind of starts to feel like a speed run. And when you hit it with no mistakes, and it's like, oh, in 4 passes, I had the entire weight of the chorus, and I pulled out, and now we're doing the intro. It's like, that feels awesome.
Oh yeah, when you just don't miss anything, and you're just like right into that first verse, and you're just like, woo.
Yeah, especially
Let's
when you do it blind
go.
with your feet. Like, how much do you find playing on different stages with such an intricate loop setup messes with your perception where things are at your feet?
Lighting, not just with, but how much stuff we're doing with our feet. And then on top, it's like you're not even thinking about what you're doing with your hands. Like you're playing the whole song.
Yeah, but that's not the hard part.
No, exactly.
Yeah, you've been there before.
Too many times.
Yeah.
And like when people are like, wow, that was a really great song, and you're like, I kind of fucked this thing up. You didn't fuck the song up. You fucked up like how you built the loop, or how the loop came in, or the looper fucked up or something. It's like you're bitching about the technology. It's like on top of everything, we actually have the song.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the finished product is the only thing that they're aware of. But there's nothing more defeating as a looper than having to delete the whole thing and start fresh.
Oh yeah.
And it's like those are moments of failure that you're just not willing to accept at some point.
Now, have you seen the Ed Sheeran clips?
Oh, where he's like doing like Wembley and like shit just Wembley, Wembley,
yeah,
and shit
Wembley
just falls
Stadium.
apart.
He literally like sometimes his like thing will fuck up and just freeze or crash, or sometimes he literally just like misses the loop. He missed the loop on Bad Habits one time. He's like playing a stadium. He's like, my bad habits lead to the... Oh, I missed the loop pedal, guys. I missed the loop. It's like even Ed Sheeran is not immune to the fuckery of being a loop artist.
Well, but there's so many great guitar players.
And he could be. He could easily just have some type of redundancy that,
Yeah. Well, there's so many guys that have their controller for their pedal board in front of them, and they're triggering pedals. But say they're halfway out on the tongue as Keith Richards playing with the Stones. There's a guy that's going to hit his claw. You know, he's going to turn on that distortion and turn on that chorus. I'm amazed that there isn't a guy on the redundancy that whole time. He's like,
right,
just stomping along with Ed, making sure it happens.
Yeah. Stomping along with that, making sure it happens. If his signal cuts out, they just like immediately throw the other one in. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's also like I've heard with Taylor Swift's touring team, it's like if the bass player has a family emergency and he steps out, we're running the bass parts from last night's show. We're not flying a new guy out. We track every show. We're just gonna input here. It's like, why wouldn't you have Ed's looped from yesterday saved, ready to program in? But it's also fascinating that it's enough of his show that people know what's going on. No one's upset that he missed a loop. They're so into the fact that he's looping. Where I feel like so many times with what you and I are doing at this level, people don't understand that, nor do they care. They're like,
No.
You had drums, and now you don't. And I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. I did that intentionally.
Right.
And you're acting like it was... you're acting like I'm cheating in front of you. It's like I don't see where your qualms with this are.
My biggest compliment of being a looper is, where do you get your tracks from? They think it's all backtracked. They think it's all like pre-recorded backtrack stuff. They're like, where do you get your backtracks from? Because, you know, you have like stops in there and starts and fills on the drums and everything. It's like, no, it's all a part of the technology. I don't save any of those things.
Man, have you ever walked someone totally foreign, someone that's never played on a looper, through your rig in particular, which is just like MIDI hell?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it is MIDI hell.
Yeah, exactly.
Because sometimes that thing starts to like slide.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it'll start to drift in like weird settings and stuff. And like all of a sudden my drums are off of like the rest of the loop that I tracked it to. And like now it's like competing, and now it just sounds like a big giant mess. And those are the ones that I have to like abort mission.
Yes.
I can't even save those.
What, do you just start to pull out layers of loops? Like
Sometimes.
Yeah,
Sometimes I'll pull everything out but the drums, because the drums are separated.
Yes.
So I can literally just pull all of the instrumentation out, and then I can either like choose to just like, you know, go commando and just like play the guitar over top of the drums and finish it out, or try to build something back in.
Yeah.
But
There's something awesome about pulling those layers and being like, oh, the chorus is coming up. I can rip through this chorus part and be back for the final here in a second.
Now, do you have firmware updates on the Boomerang?
No, I've never done a firmware update on that thing. I did a firmware update down here, and it just fucked everything up.
Yeah.
It's like
sometimes it does. Sometimes it fixes everything. Sometimes it ruins everything.
Yeah, man. And that's like the monstrosity of like the more evolved your setup, the more you are at risk to your setup.
Absolutely.
You know, like I find myself in a typical songwriter night in something like Noah Smith's Crooner Circus. Like,
Yeah.
if you want me to go up there with just an acoustic, I'm not gonna be fulfilled by this. Like, there's something about what I've been doing that makes me a little bit, I don't know, biased towards that show versus this show. And I don't know if I want to be on the competitive field of doing what y'all do, or if I want to bring all my bullshit and be the guy who's like, yeah, well, I got a DI box right here, and I'm going to need 2 cables. You know, it's like,
Right.
Can I get a power strip? You know, it's just like, you feel like an asshole.
Sure, especially in those types of settings where everyone is so broken down, which has been cool with the open mics, because when I go up and play, I only play the guitar. So it's like when I play solo, like all the originals I play have like bass lines, drums, I'm soloing on top of it, taking leads, and, you know, like opening them up. But then at the open mic, everyone else is going up there with just a guitar. Why can't I, like, you know, the professional out here, like, this is what I do for a living, why can't I just go up with a guitar and play my songs? That's what everyone else is doing.
I hear you, man, but at the Muse tonight, I'm going to bring all my bullshit. It's like, I bring my whole rig out here. I like it to thump, you know?
Well,
and also, I got my drummer running the sound, so he's messing with my drum loops. It's like...
Who's your drummer?
Well, Mr. Nick Hack.
I don't know him.
Okay, yeah. Aren't you his tech when he needs substance?
No. I love Mr. Nick Hack.
The beautiful Nick Hack. Man, what's it been like to... I know you've played in many a band. What's it like to go play in the religious setting, knowing that it's like this is just a gig to some extent?
Well, I'm about kind of like what the whole thing entails. Mm-hmm. You know, people want to get together and sing songs about like being better people. Who am I to say like,
yeah,
that's stupid, man?
Well, like the wholesomeness, like as long as you're open to it, will hit. But like I went back and played a Catholic mass for the first time in a while. It was
Catholic church is different, buddy.
Dude, I played
different stuff.
A funeral for a family member, and I was like,
Catholic funeral.
I can't remember why I stopped doing
favorite.
this, dude. It was just like the musical choices, and also like the way grooves feel in the Catholic Church is like a MIDI that needs a software update. It's like, you're saying that's one is long gone, Broheim, okay?
Yeah.
And it's just weird the way that...
Now, I've never played a Catholic gig.
What?
Can't say I have.
You grew up in the church.
Yeah, I grew up as an altar boy.
Suffer on Easter. Get back in there.
Mike played in the youth band.
Nice.
He played bass when they were like, we're going to bring like a kit drummer in. We're going to have like the youth mass. You know, let's get the kids into it. But it's kind of hard to get kids into Catholic church.
Yes.
Now the church that like I play for is like, you know, it's much more, you know, modernized and
Yes.
everything. So like
But it has
people
entertainment value.
yeah. I mean, kind of. I mean, it really.
Lights and fog and a huge baptismal font and a live band. It's like that's the thing that I see different is you
They
have.
don't got the fog.
They don't got fog?
No.
They got vapors. They got kids that vape. You're one of those kids that vape.
Not me, buddy. No. I did this thing out in Loveland, and they have like fog and like the strip lighting everywhere. But it's like I don't see that as taking away. I can see why people say it, but it's like I don't think that like takes away from what's going on.
The spiritual side of it, you mean?
Yeah, it's like, you know, and that's kind of like the whole point of the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Is like if you just like just listen to the thing, just listen to what they're saying.
Yeah,
that's really it. Like,
but I would say like as the competition of entertainment value rises in other spiritual settings, you do need to compete. I think that's one of the things that like the Catholic Mass has missed is like sometimes you go in and you hear a band and you got some vibe going on, and sometimes you go in and it's this guy that's dying on an organ like actively like at the end.
Catholics are notoriously, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Mm-hmm. So that kind of sums that one up there.
Fair enough, but do you think that's why you have less people in the pews?
Are there less people in the pews?
Yeah.
Are there? Oh. Last time I went to Catholic church was like 2021, and man, did I miss that. It's just like, it's just so dirgy, man. You know, it's like, you know, everyone's like, oh.
Dude,
I'm
it's
like,
deep.
Dude, this is dope.
I'll
This
always
is
be on the
sick.
team. I'll always identify as that because it's what I know. But
Well,
there's something about like
I also got like confirmed, so
you're stuck. Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
unconfirm.
no.
There's no paperwork for
Nope.
that.
So that's what I always say. It's like, I'm Catholic. I grew up Catholic.
Yeah,
I can't change that.
but still, that feeling that you're talking about, like you go in there for like the wholesome reminder of like we're trying to get better today. We're trying to reconnect to this. Do you think that gets accentuated by having, you know, a more involved setup?
Well, what kind of setup?
A band, you know,
Well-
the full wall monitors, you know, a really well prepared sermon, things like that.
I think that's just kind of like
Sorry.
it kind of was necessary. You know, it's like oh, now they got all this stuff. It's like that would be like going into like a bar and be like, look at all these TVs they got all over the damn walls. Used to just be like I drank shit out of a wooden mug. You know, it's like dude, it's not the fucking 1700s anymore, dude. It's like, yeah, now we're mixing out of an X32. Now everyone's running in-ears. Now there's like screens and stuff because, you know, everyone in the congregation is like, I wish I knew the words to the songs. It's
Yeah.
like, well, here they are on the screen, and they're like, big giant screen. What is this, Hollywood? It's like, like people need to like, I don't know. They need to either like get on board where it's like, this isn't even crazy stuff, man. This is like, you know, convention stuff from the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But some of it's like there's subliminal touches that you put on things that you're consuming actively. It's like, you know, when
Right.
you go to Fountain Square and they don't bring the subs out, you don't know you're missing something till you know you're missing something.
Yeah.
And then you know you're missing something.
Now, I've played there where I've played acoustic sets where it's just like an acoustic thing. And on Sundays, they don't even like take the house lights down. It's like house lights are up. Like they're very much about like, you know, no one's on a fly kit here. No one like, you know, Santa's not like coming out of the ceiling and
Yeah.
stuff. Like it's not that at all.
Yeah.
They're like pretty about the fact that it's not a production.
And I can get that when you just provide the space at the bare minimum.
Right.
And you just let it be what it is.
Yeah, and I know my job. Like it's like when I show up to Fishbowl rather than a church, rather than a wedding, it's like I know what I'm there to do. I know like what I should dress like, how I should act. It's all kind of like, you know, it's business.
Yeah. I feel just like there's different layers of permission to be myself between different gigs. It's
Yes.
like on a
Yes.
Blue Water gig, this isn't my flavor of the month. This is the same suit I always wear, the same set I always do. I need to have these 9 things lined up, and I'm not going to say much. It's going to be pretty simple.
No, because you don't have to.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't.
Yeah.
That's my thing, is that it's like place and time. It's like on a fishbowl gig, like depending on who's there, it's like I'm gonna play this, I'm gonna play that. I'm on a restaurant gig, I'm not gonna do that. I'm also not gonna like say my name 10 times on a restaurant gig. I'm literally just gonna shut up and be background music. Rather than a wedding where I'm like literally like by set 3 and we're like Mr. Brightside, I'm like, come on everybody.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I'm not gonna do that on other things. It's like, it's just knowing where you are and just doing the right thing at the right time.
Yeah. When as you kind of develop like these different versions of yourself for each set and setting, as the original stuff starts to be more and more a part of what you're doing, have you kind of changed your tone and that character, or is it just kind of surmised the 3?
So it's kind of funny you say that, because when you were talking about playing your stuff back to back with hits, and we've had this conversation a few times. You were talking about, serving yourself as a songwriter by, it's like the legends wrote what they wrote. So you should do the same and write something and like, throw it in your set. If you're going to play the legend stuff the whole time, just throw one of your own in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, fine, I will. And I could hear, and I would only do this on like really dead settings, like really dead ass rooms. That's where I kind of like broke my originals onto stuff, because there was like, a time where, slow season starts up, and then, you start playing, and like maybe your first set is like literally to the bartender. Like maybe your first guests don't roll in until the first 45 minutes into your set.
Yeah.
So those times are when I would be like, all right, I'm going to try this one. I might mess the whole thing up. I might sing the first verse 3 times.
Yeah.
But like I'm going to get a rep on this song and like get it out one time.
And that's the best way to put it, getting reps on those. It's like these things will not go from page to set to listener with any kind of consistency. It's like, it's almost watching like people pass files between them. Like there's a degradation of the fidelity of what this is. It's like you're losing quality all over the place until you learn how just to boot this thing on the machine that you're constantly working for.
Right.
That.
Well, which is why I've said that nobody, like when we did that tin roof thing, I said when we first walked in there, I was like, I don't give a fuck who's been practicing this whole week. Matt's going to smoke us all, because Matt has more reps than any of us, because you go out week after week when you're like, here are my gigs this week, and you say all that shit, you're going out and getting reps on your shit.
Yeah, specifically my stuff.
Exactly.
But
So
I
at the end of the week, someone who's literally been in their bedroom still hasn't gotten as many reps as you have. So you go up there and you're just like, I'm just going to do my thing. And you smoked everyone's boots, as I knew you would, because I was like, this guy's got more reps than any of us combined. There's not a way that you could start now to get more reps than him.
I appreciate that. It's definitely something
It shows.
But there's something also to be said, like the set and setting aspect of it. Like in a lot of aspects of my life, I put that part of the context to the side.
Sure.
Because this is a pass or fail mission.
And you said it's fucked you.
Dude, I love in La La Land where it's like Ryan Gosling sitting there at a piano or doing whatever, and he just says, fuck him.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't feel that way. But when I need an attitude adjustment, I think of Ryan Gosling saying, fuck him.
Yeah.
Because my songs are my competition with my heroes. It's the most valid thing that I have to offer to try to leave the legacy that I've admired the most. But when it comes to serving that tin roof space where it's like, we want cock rock for 4 straight hours.
Give it to him.
You say give it to him, and then I have lost some of those gigs because I've refused. And then I look back on those as like, sometimes there's that moment between your pride, your mission, and then your pay. You know, and you have to walk that line, and I found places where that combo is great. Like, thank God for the Ruby's family who know me for my stuff. They don't know me as a cover act. They say, play Dock at the Bay every once in a while, throw them some stuff they know,
Sure.
and go up there and run your tunes.
You have to.
And it's like the fact that I can run my originals in front of the folks that would pay to come see it, you know, people that have truly expendable income, that's fantastic.
Well, yeah, those markets are invaluable to be in those.
Yes. And when people come up on those gigs and they say, what was that song? It's like, now I'm hitting my mark.
Yeah.
But
those are the people you want to know.
You want to know them. You want to find your songs landing in their life. I was talking to Jimmy Klepper about this. Like, once your stuff hits the ether, once there's a video of you playing it or it hits the streaming platform, your song has a potential to make passive impact on people's lives. This thing can land in somebody's lap on the worst or the best moment to either say, fuck that guy, or I love this song, or I needed this song, or now I'm playing that.
Yep. He's another guy that has some of the most reps on his tunes than anybody.
Dude, he played one of his songs on the podcast, and we got flagged for the copyright because it sounds so much like the record.
recording, right.
It's like, damn, Jimmy, I never had that respect for Jimmy till I was dealing with those flags. I was like, that's the guy, shut up.
Right. Well, I mean, you know the famous story of Metallica, right?
No.
They did a live stream. They did a show in Antarctica because they wanted to be the only band that had played on all of the continents. And they did this live stream of them playing in Antarctica, and they streamed it on like all this stuff. Facebook took it down immediately because of the copyrighted material. They're like, nope, this is Metallica stuff. And they're like, well, this is Metallica streaming it. But the internet's like, nope. Someone already wrote this song.
What do you think the solution to that long term is? Because you can't scrub on every single platform that you work on to say these are my
posting on Facebook.
It's a really good answer,
Yeah,
you know. But how am I going to feed my Farmville children if I don't get their fake money? You know what I mean? Like, when Facebook comes up with a cryptocurrency and I make that money in Farmville and I need to invest it in my career, and they end up poor on Facebook and in real life investing in my career, now I'm happy.
Well, yeah.
That's fulfillment, goddammit.
Yeah, I know. As soon as that comes along, I know it's just like, I'm going to be screwed. It's like, damn, I didn't get in on the Facebook cryptocurrency? Nah. I actually stopped using Facebook about 6 years ago, back in 2024.
Well, here's something. Like, when I look at views on any of these platforms, I feel like that is their currency that they artificially inflate to me. They say, okay, here's how many people watched your video. Turns out they were scrolling by, it flipped on and flipped off, and you're going to count that as a view. So you can tell me with that little bit of a dopamine rush that I should give you $25 to boost that shit because it's in the 90th percentile of my post performance. It's like, I don't know what you're selling me here because you are the one making the commodity that you're selling me. I don't know how I got a mustache here and mouth, but it was nice timing. I was getting angry.
This is how they really get you on it, because we figured this out through paid stuff. We were like, all right, they say paying is the way to go. Our first paid post fucking blows up. And we're like, whoa, maybe paid post, that's the way to go. So you're like, well, that first one I put $50 on. Well, but if I put like $25 on this next one, then like it'll do like, you know, it'll still do good, especially since that first one was so good. Then you put the $25 on it, and it literally is like cut in half, and you're like, "Ooh, what happened there?" I thought that the thing was, what happened to like all those people? And Facebook is like, "Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just you didn't pony up as you know, the first time you paid $50,
and now you go soft on us,
right? And now since you've paid $50, now that you've kind of showed your hand." Now, if you pay anything less, it's like you're still paying to post, and it's still not getting out there. It's like, yeah, but you know, what if you paid $55?
Yeah, but also if the thing you're paying for is a commodity that they quantify, they can fuck with that number as much as they want.
Absolutely.
Like, what you need to ask yourself with any of these things, like, what's the end goal metric? Like, what are you really trying to convert to? Is it meaningful fans? Quantify that. How are you going to find that out? Is it butts and seats? Is it likes on your page?
Right.
Is it jumping from this platform to the other one? Because they won't let that happen. That's not the point of their platform.
No.
Yeah, you post a YouTube link on Facebook, we will shit in your mouth.
Oh, yeah. Bury that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've witnessed that with the open mic stuff. It's like I put the words like tap and house and open and mic in too many of my posts. Because, like, the first couple were like, wow, this is amazing. And then it'd be like, hey, guys, it's Tuesday. Come on out to the open mic. It's like my mom and my dad and 2 other people. And I'm like, well, nobody saw that.
Yeah.
Let me try it again. Hey, open mic. And it's like 2 people. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
Yeah. Well, I do think some of that has to do with actual like consumer reactions. The first time you show anyone anything, they're more interested than the second time. Like, that's just the build of it.
But
And,
that's why I posted that clickbait. Just to, like, kind of
push yourself in the algorithms
reset
a little bit.
And I'm also, doing some research for science.
Yeah, for science. But I don't think
always for science.
It's not just clickbait. It's highly engageable materials that may be low-hanging fruit in your own mind, but the fact that you were wise enough to go for it is exactly what you're supposed to do on those platforms. Like,
Exactly.
What one of the downsides that I found as strictly a music creator was the only thing I ever post about is my own goddamn songs and shows. That's why this show is here, so I can post about other people. And the algorithmic preference you get for sharing things, for collaborating on things, and landing on new people's pages is by far the most potent version of this. Like,
Right.
Who would have thought actually socializing is the best way to get ahead in a social media?
Sure. Yeah, and the funny thing is that it's like when you can take it a step further and people actually, they're like, dude, I see you create all your stuff, and now I want to see you I see you doing the yoga and stuff, but like, I want to see you do the yoga.
And then I start selling feet pics. It's such a quick game.
It's a quick game.
No one else told me that I looked nude until you told me like 3 times. It's like, I got fucking clothed up for this thing. It's like, my wife isn't going to like the fact that I'm putting thirst traps on the internet.
Right.
But my wife never said that to me, so maybe she likes the thirst traps. I don't know.
I was just kind of like, hey, Maddie, you got it. Flaunt it. You are, it is Matt Waters and the recipe. Like, it's your name, buddy. So show a little skin every once in a while, honey.
But man, with that, and,
They
and
like
I would
it.
like to hear how you're kind of approaching this bag of original material, because like, we've all had bands break up. We've all
Yeah.
had other people take their piece of the pie and find out that they didn't want to replenish what that piece was. Like, a really hard thing for me with saying like the live album is I'm texting everybody on my phone. I'm posting 6 times a day about it. I am pouring everything I got into putting butts in seats.
Was this from this past one or Big Crash?
This past one.
Okay, yeah.
But my bandmates, it's not their show. So it's
No.
not like they're going out promoting it.
Nope.
Maybe they told their spouse about it. Maybe they told a friend about it.
Right.
But they don't have that kind of personal investment in it. And it's like, you always think it's a group project till you have something like that, and you see that kind of line in the sand. And in some ways it made me sad, because like, I wish I had the help on this, but it's not something I'm willing to compromise on to make this
Right.
everybody's thing. It's
Sure.
like, I got to be able to navigate as is.
Yep. It's like I see the feels on your laptop here. It's like that's like just the name of the band. If you guys were just the recipe and you're like, I'm just Matt and I'm the singer of the band. And,
Yeah.
You were just a band. It
Yeah.
would be different.
But that's so much harder to navigate too. It's like,
Fuck
you
yeah.
lose a band member, you lose 400 of those likes. You
Yep.
know, you
And a whole bunch of now it's a copyright thing. It's
Yes.
a royalty thing. Yeah.
yeah, versus just paying people in advance and saying, hey, I own this stuff at the end of the day,
Yep.
and I appreciate your thumbprint on it. That's why you're here. That's why I pay you. It's like,
I love the guys that track on big giant tracks who act like they get screwed. It's like he made millions off the track and I made $250. It's like you didn't know that song was going to be anything when you said yes to $250.
totally. And also, you didn't put the grind in to have the wait for that song to blow up the way it did, nor
Right.
did you make those deals and those handshakes.
Right. No, I just love how those guys always bellyache how
Yeah.
the songwriter made all this money.
Do you follow Ash Sohn? Sorry to interrupt you. Ash Sohn is a wonderful drummer that has he has his main drum studio in a windmill somewhere in Sweden or some
Yeah.
shit. Very, very exotic.
Wait a
But
minute.
He's played on Adele stuff. He's played on a lot of major hitting records.
He's not the guy who makes beats out of taking a snare drum and pouring water in it and like
I don't
doing
think
all these
so.
like weird beats and shit. Like
He has great effects. He's a Universal Audio guy, and he does awesome things with like a sweet like dubstep like delay on his not dubstep, but like reggae dub kind of snare sounds.
Yeah.
But he's not a guy that goes like too off the beaten path of like weird drum gimmicks.
okay.
I shouldn't call those gimmicks, dude. I love the one guy who will like he'll hit a small gong and he'll dip in water and pull it back.
That's the guy I'm talking about, right?
That shit's rad. That blows my mind. It's like that's
know.
gonna be the sample pack of a lifetime.
Exactly, because like when you just close your eyes and listen to that beat, you're like, oh, that's a total like sample pack, totally made on the computer, so digital. And then it's like, no, that guy literally is playing it in front of your face.
Yeah, dude. The fact that that's analog is so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a buddy tell me this recently, and I guess I never consider it on the production side or the making it happen side, but I've definitely felt what he's talking about as a listener. When you're hearing something, you have no idea what the fuck it is. It's just got a
Yes.
shape and a contour where you're like, that's weird and sexy. I
Yep.
don't care what it is.
Dude, that's why I love digital music. And it's like, I don't know what it is. I don't care what it is. It's like, I love the blend of digital and analog. Like, I love bands like the 1975, but when I was into like the jam band scene, I always loved the jamtronica bands. There was always like the 3 levels of jam. There was like bluegrass, where you was like everyone's just playing mandolin, everybody's barefoot, and everyone's just like getting really, really drunk.
Yeah.
Like really,
It's
really
moonshine
drunk.
culture.
Moonshine, whiskey. Then you move into like the Grateful Dead kind of like analog jam bands. Where
Yes.
it's like the, super kind of like feel goody in the sun type of shit. The Grateful Dead type of shit.
Yeah,
But, like,
exactly. Solid trippers, but they like seeing band members up there doing their things, and it's
Right.
like very, very perceptible. You can
Right.
understand what's going on in front of you.
they got, analog instruments up there, analog synths and keys and stuff, and it's very much that sound. Then there was like the Jamtronica bands, which was like there's a live drummer on stage, there's a guitar player, but there's like a laptop. And like there's like a guy with like a synth, but he's also got like a launch pad.
Yeah.
And like there's like weird stuff going on, but they're like playing on top of it live, and it's like live loops are happening and everything. And I was like, this is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Because there would be like little sounds that would essentially serve as like the alternate percussion, like just sort of like and all of a sudden you're just like, ooh, what is that? What, like, where is that coming? You don't see anybody. It's all kind of smoke and mirrors, but somebody did do that, and like
Yes.
there is skill to it. I hate when people think it's like backing tracks is like, oh, it's just backing tracks. It's like, have you ever tried to play 2 backing tracks? It's like those motherfuckers don't wait up for you.
Yeah.
Like you fall behind on that thing, like you're gonna look like a scrub.
Yeah.
It's really easy to look stupid playing to backing tracks.
It's way easier to fall apart and to
Yeah.
lose the form. But I do think like you're making less of a judgment about the art and more of a judgment about yourself as a listener when you deny that kind of art. It's like,
Right.
I can go see, Snoop, and he's gonna have a DJ behind him, and sometimes that's enough. And sometimes he has
cares?
Dario
Yeah.
Jones on the drum kit playing along to these tracks.
Yeah.
And it's like, to know what you like in terms of those layers helps you to act like less of a snob and a prick when someone comes out here and gives you their art,
Right.
in the best live interpretation of it that they see fit, because they are the creator. It's like, you are not the one who decides. If you want to do it different, do it your fucking self.
Right, because then on the other end of the spectrum, after Jamtronica was just like the EDM producer type of guys who
Yeah.
didn't have anybody on stage. It was all just electronic stuff, but they would have crazy ass setups where they're like doing the loops live and everything. It wasn't just kind of what people would call push play DJs, but even like push play DJs. I saw Grizz at Bunbury years ago, and it was just awesome. And
Yeah.
I could tell that he just like pushed play and he was just standing on top of the thing, like just jamming out on the saxophone. But I was like, this is awesome. Everything that's coming out of the speakers, I'm enjoying.
Yes.
I couldn't give a fuck how it's coming out of the speakers at this point. As a paid patron, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm having a good time. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here to be like, I paid general admission and I shall now tear apart your production quality. doesn't seem like you doing much of this stuff live. It's like, who fucking cares what you think, dude? It's like thousands of other people love it.
Yeah.
And they don't care if he pushed play and just danced on stage the whole time.
It's like being the guy who sells peanuts when peanut butter hits the market. It's like, turns out that's what they wanted. Nothing against you. You're kind of close, and there's still people that like that analog salty nut. But
totally. And it's just like you said, it's like you're just denying yourself as a listener by denying that art.
yeah.
And it's just like, why can't you just like let whatever is coming out, why can't you just enjoy that for what it is? Who cares how it's made?
Yeah. What's your experience been like to step into the world of DJing, for events, but also I'm sure you've gone down your own rabbit holes of just enjoyment, being in Serato and learning how that side of the world works?
Well, it's really easy to just kind of get your feet going. It would be pretty much like if I could kind of like parallel it to an instrument, it would kind of be like ukulele. Like ukulele is something that like you can put in someone's hands and like within a couple of times you can get something that's listenable. Mm-hmm. You can be like, put your hand here, 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 here. It's not like super easy. It's not like you can just throw it in anyone's hands and they can just do it. But
if you have that inkling.
Right. And I've told so many of my musician friends that it's like, it's like people that DJ usually aren't musicians on top of that. They just like DJ because they're not a musician. They're like, I'm a DJ.
Well, I would say at this point in the game, they're musicians. They're just a different class of musicians.
Sure.
They play music for a living.
But not the musicians that you and I would think of.
Yes, they're not analog instrumentation. They are digital musicians.
Correct. They're not instrumentalists, if I should say.
Yeah.
So being instrumentalists and being just kind of natural with rhythm, it's like when you're queuing up tracks in, you're just like, oh, I just like cue it in if it's like on a house beat. It's just like that. It's like I just have to cue up the next song here. It's like to just hit it on that beat. You're just like, and like all of a sudden it's timed up and you're like, oh, that was pretty easy.
And how much of the game is like,
but I gotta say, like when I see dudes like, cutting stuff in and they're like sampling stuff and I'm like, whoa, I'm like, that is on some crazy shit. Dude, I'm not saying like, DJing, anybody can do it. But
do you know Combat? Do you know Richie?
Yeah.
Richie's the best in the game. Like Richie's probably my favorite in the city besides maybe Tobot. Do you know Toby Donahue? He's part of the Animal Crackers that used to be like a very hardcore,
but I've known
analog
Combat.
table. Yeah, Combat's nasty.
Yeah.
And I love watching people play. Like, I think scratching is where I feel the most musicianship as someone watching from a distance.
Yes.
But the rest of it's like, I kind of see these as bags of layers. You have your acapella vocals, you have your grooves, you have your chordal, layers, and then you also have some ethereal shit.
Yeah.
So you can kind of base what you're going to pull and who you're going to incorporate based on what bag they come from.
Right.
Like, especially if you're going to be playing two sequences at the same time. To go song to song, that's a different art, and that's more about curating the public's taste, and I love watching that.
That is a huge talent in and of itself.
Yeah.
Because that's like one thing that I thought to myself, I'm like, oh, cool, I can time beats up and stuff. I can do this. And then I realized the first time I ever took it out there that I was like, fuck, I don't know what these people want to hear.
Yeah.
I'm not like that kind of taste maker. And I was
Not
like...
Not yet. It's like your first couple acoustic gigs where
Totally.
it's like, I only got 100 songs. I can give you 30 here, her 30. Well, yeah, first couple. It's like, I got 30, and we're going to repeat this. And it's like, you probably only had 10.
Hopefully I make it through, yeah.
Dude, there's nothing funnier than watching someone on an early acoustic gig start to double up on things.
Oh, yeah.
But like...
by the end of the night, you're like, I'm going to play my first songs because the same people aren't here.
Yeah. But I also... I feel confident enough at this point in my life that if you tell me a song and I've heard enough times, I'll read it to you. I don't give a shit about that. But if you're in here and you're the only person in here, and I ran an original earlier tonight that I want to get another rep on, I will.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and that should be fine by you, because hopefully there's some development. If I eat it in the same spot, like no one wants to watch a professional gamer eat it on the same level over and over again. They want to watch you crack the code a little bit,
Kinda, but that's also kind of the fun of it at the same time. I mean, the internet culture and kind of the whole, like, podcasting in general, that's kind of why I said that on that post of like, it's like who's got a podcast? Because I mean, people like therapists are telling their patients, it's like, hey, if you feel like you need to get stuff out, start a podcast.
Is that really going on?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
I mean, it's like a form of therapy at this point. I mean, I'm on TikTok. I scroll past people. There are guys that I think it's like a real ass podcast. It's like, full production, multi-cams, everything looks great and everything. And I'm like, oh, some other podcast I've never heard of or something. 0 likes. And I'm like, oh, this is just like some guys just having a go at it.
Yeah.
Like these aren't like, big name guys or anything, but they're just like, this is our podcast.
And good on them. I mean, it strikes every once in a while.
Right.
Like, I think like there's numerical thresholds that you cross there. It's like how many people get past their 50th episode, their 100th episode.
Yeah.
It's like you're going to be 144. It's like I've been doing this for 4 years now, and it's not like it's, breaking people's lives down and really making that impact, because there's so many people in the game.
Right.
So many people putting out their first 3 episodes and falling off. It's like, it's
Mike and I did it. We did, like maybe 20 something episodes, but it was just like a grind to keep up all week. And to be topical and not get canceled is almost impossible. Mm-hmm. So we kind of had to be like, we're going to talk about this and this and this on the podcast. And then those things would go live and we'd be like, I read an article about this thing about a thing that was about this dog in Indonesia, and the whole village loved it. And it was really great. And it was like, I can't, like just let loose. Not to say like I just want to say offensive stuff. I'm just saying is that like, people misconstrue stuff all of the time.
Yeah, it's a personal conversation, but it's on the record. And because it's on the record, you just have a certain thing that you can't cross there.
Right. And like, I don't want to have like some like the way I said it one time on a podcast, I might have been in a certain mood that day or a certain thing that day. And it's like, I really liked Nick, and then I heard him on a podcast talk about this one thing this one time, and now I think I hate his guts.
and that's an awesome place to be too, because folks that will write you off for one thing you said tend to be the kind of they're closed-minded enough that they're not going to serve you long term as a human trying to get better or trying to change your opinions based on what you actually feel is true, not what you're being told to think is true.
Yes.
And it's nice to have platforms like this where you can go back and hear yourself poorly articulate something.
Yeah.
Maybe a little better. And then suddenly you change, you poorly articulate the other side. It's like, it's human. It's fine.
Right.
The best, like, what I found for the sustainability of this, the 2 best things is, 1, I like hanging out with the people that I have on here. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't the case. When it used to be a show by myself, that shit was merciless, okay? And I got done with myself really quick. But now I just have people on, and it's so refreshing to get to sit down with friends that I never get to talk to like this for a long form. And then the second thing is posting clips that make me uncomfortable, whether it's something that I've said that I don't think is that poorly said, or it's something that I said that I don't think is articulated in a way that's going to come off right. It's like, I just got to accept that this is what happened and roll with it. Or it's someone else's thoughts, but I'm putting it out there to show the other side of it, knowing that maybe my audience, my mother included, is going to find this crude and offensive.
Yeah.
And what I found for the most part is if it's not for you, it's not for you. You scroll past it.
Yep.
Occasionally you get someone angry in the comments, and I love telling them thank you. You know, because
I'm glad it reached you.
Exactly. And I'm glad it brought you to the keyboard, because this is where the conversation can take place. And I may not respond. If you're that pissed off, say la vie. I'm cool with that.
Well, I'm just saying is that once you get haters, you know that that your content is getting outside of your just immediate circle. That's just going to give you praise, no matter if you just post a turd or not.
Yeah.
They're always going to say, they're always going to like it. They're always going to be like, oh, cool, cool. But it's reached enough people that like it's reaching people that are seeing it and they're like, man, fuck this shit. Like,
Yeah.
like they're saying stuff. It's like,
My buddy,
hell yeah, dude, we're getting out there. Like, yeah.
My buddy Mike was talking about someone stepping on a nail and putting gasoline on it to try to treat the wound. And it's like all we had is like people angry from the construction world being like, we all step on nails, brother.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, he's soft. And I'm like, the last thing I expected someone to respond to this to is like, sounds like he was being a bitch. You know, it's like,
Right.
He stepped on the goddamn nail.
I mean, but at the same time, when you make this type of content, that's all you're going to get. It's like, all you're going to get is a comment section, you know? Like, all these Twitch streamers, like, if you're going to go Twitch stream, you'd be like, chat, is this true? Chat, is this true? Like, they're always talking to the chat. It's the chat. It's the chat. It's the comment section. It's the chat.
Yeah.
You should check out the comment section of this. It's like, it's always about the comment section.
Yeah, it's always about the peanut gallery, man.
Haters be in my comment section. Like, it's like, dude, it clearly gets to you if you're like saying that. It's like, all my comment section, this. It's like, that's why you post the content. It's like you post the content for the comments. You post the content for the likes. And if there's anything I've learned in this last like couple years is that like you could post content about anything. There's gonna be one person that's like, absolutely, I absolutely agree, and then there's gonna be one person that's like, that person's a fucking idiot. And like,
There's always an escalator.
oh my god, it escalates so fast. Next thing you know, the person from the first comment's like, I'm not an idiot. Fuck you, I'll kick your ass. And all of a sudden you're like inciting violence, and it's like, dude, I just posted about like this one little thing, and
I'm
you're
giving
ready to
out
kill
IP
you.
addresses on the dark web. You know, it's like I'm sending spam mail to places I probably shouldn't send spam mail. But it's
Some weird ass ats after the
Yes.
on the emails. Yeah,
but it's great to be in a place too where like the content's always different because the conversation's always different. And the outrage is always different as much as the praise can always be different.
Sure.
But if someone ends up hitting the follow button, if they watch a piece of content that this might be the only thing they ever like from me, but they're willing to go that extent, now I have an opportunity to send the personal message and say, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here. Even if you fall off in a month, it's like...
now, as you being an artist, do you purposely not follow certain people because of ratio?
I don't follow people that I don't think I have any interest in following.
Okay.
If I get followed by someone and I look through their page, I'm like, I like that shit.
I'm always so guilty of not going all the way and following. I could like every last one of their posts and just to not click the follow button. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm going to get their shit all the time. I see their stuff all the time. It's like, yeah, but you're not following them. It's like, oh, I guess I'm not. Okay, yeah, hit it, follow.
Yeah, but it's a weird quantification of what it matters to you. It's like, I think the hardest nut to crack is YouTube subscribers.
Yeah.
Because that means something to people. It's like you're part of their feed indefinitely. And,
Yeah.
and everyone that's followed based on this program, like, it means a lot to me. Because for over a decade, I've been posting shit on YouTube, and maybe I'm at 600 right now. You know, maybe
Right.
I'm pushing up to that threshold of can I make money doing this thing. And until then, it's just a labor of love.
The problem is that once you do start making money from doing that thing, it just becomes more than full time. And that's, yeah.
But I'm funding my farm on Facebook, you know? Like, I'm buying
I
land.
know, man, but I'm just
Generational
saying. Like,
wealth happens in the metaverse
right.
from now on.
I'm just saying is that like when you're like subbing Ruby's gigs out because you got like
'Cause I
some
gotta
like
get a stream.
online events, you know?
Well, I am starting to try to give more time to like. It's like how many times can I play in the same bar and have someone new walk in?
Yeah.
Maybe 1,000. Maybe 1,000 times can you get that kind of turnover. I will say it like at my regular Sunday gig at the Bowl. Like I get new people all the time. Do I make relationships with them? No. But do I find fans there, you know, every once in a while, the diamond in the rough?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure.
But I need to start playing to the widest market in the world, which is the great wide web. So
Yeah.
starting to prioritize them like I would any other gig, knowing that it's an eventual payoff. It's not a current payoff. It's like, what night of the week am I willing to sacrifice? Like I moved the Muse so I could start making my Mondays about being online, doing that thing.
When is the Muse now?
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays.
Busiest day of the week in Cincinnati's music, but it's like, man, I'm there for the songwriters that I invite and the folks that want to come see them, and it is what it is.
Well, I think that's actually good. You know, I mean,
Mondays were
because-
tough.
Yeah, that is way tougher than Wednesdays. You know, it's like you're not really taken away from anything. That's why I think, you know, having open mics on Tuesdays, it's like, oh, I could do this more often. I'm like, when the hell else am I gonna have an open mic? Like
Yeah.
Tuesdays are really the only days for open mics. It's like Wednesdays, shit's going on.
Yeah.
Like stuff's actually happening by then. Thursdays, stuff's happening by then.
For sure. And what I really love that I'm discovering more of, like, hosting the Muse or hosting this show tunes me more into the other folks that are trying really hard to see artists around here take part in each other's lives. It's like, if you want to commiserate with anyone, it should be the guy up the fucking street who does the same thing as you.
Yep.
And within that, maybe things get better. So, like, the Village Theater has an open jam on Wednesdays.
Yes.
The Southgate House has an amazing open mic on Wednesdays.
Yes.
Now
I
got
hear
the
all about that.
Yeah, the Muse is now going on Wednesdays. I'm sure there's 50 other events that go on in our city. But it's like, what do you tailor the show towards? Like, what's the purpose of it? For me, it's being around the other songwriters I choose to be around and having our songs circulate in each other's presence so we can get better, so we can get feedback, so we
Right.
can have some time together.
But you are kind of listing it as an event, like a live event. So it has to be very listenable at the same time.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't bring anyone on that I didn't think was ready.
I know you do, right.
But I'll also bring on some intentional flops because I know that in a year they're going to be someone that I lean on because I love their stuff already. It's like, I'm sure you feel that way right now with the Tap House, where in a month you've seen people start to take steps forward.
I have, yeah.
A lot of the veterans, the hard thing for all of us is we're at a glass ceiling. You know, you're at a place where it's like, how do I get better at my job when I keep doing the same things in my job?
I thought about that as soon as the new year rolled around. I was like, new year, same shit, but how do you make it new shit?
Mm-hmm. And on my end, it's like I try to take things down to the week. It's like, that's my old schedule of the week that I always look at there. It's like, that's not what I do anymore. But just having that remind me, it's like, there's only so many boxes. There's 3 time slots in a day. There's 7 days in a week. There's a lot of shit to get done. And with zero accountability to other people, it's hard to decide what to do.
Yep.
Like today, I'm thinking about, like, I either got to edit this live album again, or I got to go edit my next studio release. And both of those are kind of like work that I'm going to chip away at, but it's nowhere near ready. It's not coming out.
It's January.
You know what? Fair enough. But that's why I need something like this. So I have something to post about every single day so that when that stuff comes down the pipeline, it's new, it's different, it's the love work.
Now, do you consume content in the same way that you post it? Like, how do you consume your content? Because you're not the one...
I watch a lot of clips.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll sit there and scroll and see what things are interesting to me.
Yeah.
But it does not affect much of what I do.
No, but I'm just saying it's like how you consume it. Because I've always thought, like, the easiest way to create content is to reverse engineer it. It's just like, how do you like content?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how are you going to make content for someone that you don't even know how they like to consume it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you don't stay up on how things are being presented to the general public, then you don't really know. And, like, you gave me some wonderful advice, you know, maybe a year ago now, where it's like, you need music behind the clips. And that's become 2 things. One, it's the set and setting, so I can find some new shit. It can be part of the joke that comes along with the clip.
Sure.
Or it could be more progression towards actually advocating for this person I think is awesome. It's like a lot of times
because you have a lot of
I get an artist on there,
Yeah.
and I go to put their music behind the clip, and it says 0 shorts. It says 0 clips, and it's like, oh, well, we're gonna run that fucking number up.
We got
you
one.
know? Exactly. We're gonna start pushing that side.
Because that's how you quantify views and streams on TikTok, is how many times it's used as a sound.
And if it doesn't get off the ground, it doesn't get off the ground. Like,
No.
Another thing I'm trying to be considerate about going into this year is, like, if it's great, repost it, take it down, post it again, take it down, post it again. Give this thing the opportunity to hit the stream at a rapid point and actually go for it.
Right.
Rather than just kicking something to the side and saying, it's dead. It's dead. I put all this effort in. It's dead.
Right.
And it's like, no, you need to look at this bag as tools for you to continually use. It's not just a one-trick pony that came and went.
No. And it can be as new or not new as you want it to be. Because, like you said, it's like there's only a certain amount of time slots in a day. But at the end of the day, when you're like, what am I going to do? Am I going to edit my live album or my new release? It's like, I don't know. Sounds like champagne problems, man. You got like a cool stuff going for you, buddy. You know?
But in your own little insulated world, like it's just busy work.
Totally.
Like with the live album especially, it's like there's so much cleaning to be done. And at some point, it starts to feel artificial compared to what it actually was. So how much do you go in and poke and prod?
But
and
you're
massage?
doing that is the thing. And like, again, it's like the people that are not getting reps on their stuff. They're not just like the waking up, living and breathing it. And I've been super guilty of that. Like, my God. I mean, yeah.
It's a tough side of it. Like we talked about, like zero accountability. You know?
Exactly.
And when you're talking about self-employment too, sometimes the only needle you want to move is your finances.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what the best thing for my financial life was last year? Getting married and having someone that I was going to bring the bread home for. It's like my wife wants to have a house and kids one day, and the fuck if I'm going to sit around and act like that's just her mountain to push.
Right,
It's
but
like,
also, what was your biggest financial expense last year?
my band. Guaranteed my band.
More than the wedding?
We have extremely kind families that have saved
Well,
up
sure.
to give
I'm
their
just saying, is that like...
But it's like that wasn't as much my expense, and that's coming from a place of like very very
band.
privileged. No, my band was by.
Shout out to the recipe.
When I do my 1099s, I take a lot of pride in the fact where it's like the most expensive thing in my life is the folks that I trust to help me push this thing forward.
You'll be sending me one of those things.
Exactly. and I love the work that we do together. It's like, especially when it comes to like the corporate stuff that I can just throw to a friend. It's like, who can I absolutely trust with this? Someone that I know day in and day out is looking at the same shit I am. It's like, that's part of the reason we're competitive with each other and we love each other. It's like, because I know that he's going to do this job as rock solid as I would, if not better. And if he does it better, I'm crazy.
Because that's like, again, the thing. It's like, when you hire me for the corporate stuff, it's like I show up in khakis and a button down and like,
Sends me a picture saying I got this outfit for today.
Yeah.
I was like, you sweet motherfucker. It's like that's a homie, And it's like when I asked you to play drums on gigs, it's like I'll learn the book. When I'm asking you to come up and play your stuff, you play your stuff. It's like it's when you find people in your community that have the same work ethic as you in this very undescribable kind of intangible place. Those are the people that you need to treasure and advocate for when they're not here. It's like the thing that I love with Fishbowl is for the longest time, you were my go-to sub because I know you can hold up the weight that I'm trying to put up there. It's like,
right.
I have job security if I can send a motherfucker in here behind me. And then they said, actually, we'll just take more of what you two do. And now you and I are both looking around saying, who can sub for us?
I have nobody.
Yeah. And I have people that I can call that do something different.
Right.
But it's like, please see what I'm trying to compete with here. It's like the reason that people are moving down the street to some of their other establishments is because those are acoustic establishments. We're not really acoustic acts when we do the looper thing. It's competitive with DJs. That's what I want.
Yeah.
You're not going to show me what these subs can really do because I'm kicking that thing in the throat all night.
Yeah. Except for the Tin Roof. They're kicking my ass on Wednesdays now.
That's tough though. When you're playing directly across the street from a DJ, it's like
it's not a DJ. It's worse.
Oh, is that when we got live band karaoke?
Because
how often you want to listen to live band karaoke? You want to participate, but you want to have them come back over. So how do we give them?
That's the thing, though. Is that they will stick around because they can participate. Of course they want that. Of course it's like I could either come in to a bar where there's like, some people out, there's a guy playing. He's not really playing what I want to hear, but, he's playing. Okay, just kind of chilling here. Or I could go across the street and my drunk dumb ass can get on the stage and I can sing My Own Worst Enemy with the band and everyone in the bar is like, tell me why. Like, that's memories right there. It's like...
You got a good point in that. And one thing you touched on that, like, I think this is the hardest thing about live music right now is in all other parts of people's lives, they get to choose exactly what they're listening to or watching. It's like your Spotify access has made you such a more particular listener. You couldn't turn on the radio and be surprised by the next song and be excited about it unless it was one of these 5 fucking songs. So when I say, all right, here comes a new song of mine about this, and it's like, and also, like, sometimes I'll say that, but most of the time what I'm trying to do, if it's going to be one of my tunes, I set the premise. This is a song about the intersection between romance and dumpster diving.
Yeah.
This song's about a dirty cruise ship. It's like, you'll know it's mine because I give you context, because I give you an initial hook. But if I try to tell you something clunky, if that doesn't hit and then the song doesn't hit, you're going across the street to live band karaoke. You're going to a DJ set where you can't hear yourself think because people are afraid of the silence and the lack of control that comes along with listening to an artist, and then there's a moment in between.
Dude, I have gotten to the point where I literally don't even fucking stop playing. I literally will, like, the song ends on a G, the next song is in G. And I'm thinking, like, all right, what am I going to do there? I'm, like, kind of picking around G, and I'd, like, land on an E minor because I'm in there. I'm like, all right, I'll play that song because that's an E minor, and then rip into that. There's literally not a fucking moment of silence for the first hour that I play. I don't stop playing the guitar.
And do you find that there's applause breaks, or do they just wipe over that because you kept going?
Wipe over it. But the thing is that they kind of want that. Mm-hmm. They don't. They want to be passive. They just want to feel like something's happening while I'm here. Mm-hmm. And like the audio kind of cushion is comforting.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't have to think about what they're playing. It's not too loud. It's not too quiet. But it's that silence. Because when I do the open mics, the first time I did it, I was like, all right, we'll do this. But when I was switching people over, it's
quiet.
It's quiet. So I was like, all right, well, just took a page out of the BWK book and I just like ran my playback into the fucking
and it's just always there,
iPad,
pull it off, yeah.
And it's just like always there. I'm like, and so-and-so's up next. And then throw in some background music. There's not a single moment of silence. I pull it out. I bring in the next person. They start. Mm-hmm. I say, next person's coming up, pull in background music. And it's like, it keeps people there.
Yeah. It's a great point. And like, one thing that we can do as loopers and set it and forget it. Just let things roll. It's like, if I need a moment to take a drink, I have a loop right here. I can make this happen. But the other day I went to Ghost Baby. I'd never been to Ghost Baby. Never set foot in the building. I had interest to, but I was never like
play at Ghost Baby.
That'd be nice. Well, I just met what's his name? Justin. Justin's a sweet dude. He recognized me immediately. We never met. He came up, introduced himself.
Justin's the man.
Yeah, he definitely cares about this community and cares about what he's doing there. I will say the sound in that room, atrocious. We got to talk about that.
Well,
because they have those mains behind the stage and they're like hidden behind these grates, and you're like,
no, there's the one on the top. There's like the one little like line array they have in the middle on the top. Oh yeah, it's a funky system, but I mean Justin does great work there, and that dude works so fucking hard.
His presentation, 10 out of 10. Oh my god, chef's kiss. But I was seeing Lauren Elise there because Lauren Elise came on the podcast the next week, and I was like,
she's there like every week. She's got like a residency there,
dude.
Right?
And if anyone is a superstar in this goddamn city, it's Lauren Elise.
We've known that for years.
I know.
Put it on the record. Lauren Elise has been a superstar. We've all known that.
And I watched her do crowd work about a happy birthday shout out for 2.5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, dude.
I bet it was the coldest shit you've ever seen in your life.
She worked it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, if you want a happy birthday shout out, you tell me the name. I ask regular or sexy, then we get this shit out of the way. She worked the room for 2.5 minutes. Woo. Anyone that had a birthday within the next 2 months, she had them standing, hooting and hollering. How old are you? 51? No, you ain't 51, baby. You're 52. And they were so excited about it.
And I bet her band is just fucking killer.
Wait, it was Dev.
Yeah.
Matt Lewis.
Okay.
James Ricks.
Jeez.
And then a drummer that I don't know his full name, but his nickname was Cash Money, and he sounded like it. Okay, he was tight. But just a hot band. But she's doing this crowd work, and they're just patiently waiting, too, which, like, I respect bands that they know the job, they let their band leader lead, and they come in and they do their thing. Like, Sometimes I would call it insubordination, where someone starts to go on, their own tangent on the side, and it's like, there's no time for that now. It's this show needs to be tight and tailored.
This is a show, and especially when the act is, again, it's a name. It's not a band. It's a name. It's Lauren Elise.
Yeah.
That's who you're there to fucking see. And when she shows up on that stage, you know who Lauren Elise is.
Yes.
You're not like,
There's no questions as to who's the band
Zero.
leader here. Yeah.
Well, I mean, even back in the day, I would run into Lauren places. I mean, you would know who she was because, again, she just carries that fucking presence. She's
Yeah.
just like,
We talked about that too. It's just like she exudes something, and I was
Yeah.
like, is that something you learned to always have in New York, or is that just you?
I think
And-
it's just her.
Well, exactly. It's like, of course, the answer. That's just me, baby. You know, it's like,
Yeah, but yeah, I just don't think New York can do that.
no,
Like-
they can't change you.
No, because, you've known people that moved to New York, moved to LA, moved to Nashville, and, like, sometimes it can change them for better or for worse. But it doesn't give them that.
Yes.
Never gives them that.
So that makes me really want to turn back to this batch of material that you've worked really hard on for the last 2 years, 2.5 years, maybe, or would you say less time than that?
Less time than that.
Year and a half?
Yeah.
Because it was
Some
a very
songs that were, like, created and then I, like, trashed, rebuilt,
Mm-hmm.
and then are still, like, like 80% there. Because, you don't want to, like...
you don't want to say it's done till it's done.
Right.
But it was a very short period of time from me subtly talking some shit to a friend to hear some fucking songs, and I was through with that. I will not forget the moment that I walked in a fishbowl. You're like, oh, Matt's here. I got something for you. And then you ran me down the song that you said it was about a friend of yours that had passed. It was something about referencing a funeral, but it sounded very peppy.
Yes.
And it's like, it was the first time that I got to hear unencumbered Nick Heffron.
Yes.
And I was so thrilled by that, and I'll never forget that moment. Because I'm just standing there like, that's my fucking dude. That's
That song I played last night, and, like, a guy at the tap house was like, I really like that song. But it was like, because I have so many more reps on it now.
yeah.
It's like when I first played that song, like, a couple times, it's like my voice was, like, shaking. I was like, shit, this is my song, blah, blah, blah. But now it's like, I'll be like, this next song's called Grandeur, and just, like, rip right into it. And it's
Exactly.
like,
So do you think in time that these are going to be full band orchestrations?
Yes.
Okay. In a studio setting, would that be you on everything and then show people the parts?
yes.
Cool.
Yeah. That's like, from being a multi-instrumentalist, that's always been my dream of, like, having, like, a Prince style album where it's like you hear the record and it's all me, baby.
Yeah.
It's all me from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Because, again, you don't got to pay anybody later.
You don't got to pay anyone later. You don't have to make any musical compromises.
No, and it's like, I wrote the guitar to this. It's like, I want to play the drums to this song. Like, I know how the drums would go in this song. I want to play the bass to this song.
Yeah.
I know that I could hire somebody to do it better. I know people that are way better drummers than me, way better bass players than me, way better key players than me, but that's not the point of this project.
Yeah, and let that be some encouragement to young folks that feel the inkling to want to play everything, and people are going to tell you just focus on one thing.
Right.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Get your feet wet now.
Yeah.
Because when it comes time to actually use those skills, you're going to have those reps.
Yeah.
You know, there was a point in time where someone asked you to play keys on some incredibly complicated stuff, and you said, I don't know, but yes.
Right.
You know, it's like to suffer while you're young, figuring this out, and you think it means the world. It doesn't mean shit. Get it out of the way. Like,
Yeah.
even now when I get in my head about things, it's like, it doesn't mean shit. When I'm 90, I can look back and have regrets about that if
Yeah.
I choose to. But I highly doubt that's going to be the problem at that point.
In fact, sorry about that. I was gonna say, like, that when Megan Wren brought in this one girl, it was like this. It was her first open mic ever. She was like 12, 13 years old. As she's tuning up, her string breaks, and she's like, "Oh shit!" And Megan's like, "It's cool, it's cool." Gives her guitar, and it's like, all right, she's already put in a weird place. I'm already not playing my own guitar. I'm already playing a different guitar. And then she's like playing her song. She's playing her song, drops the pick, reaches down to get it, mid-song, picks it up. As she gets it, steps on the cable. Cable comes out. And I'm just like, this is great. This is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
get all of this out now.
Yes.
Because it'll either literally, you'll be so embarrassed that you'll be like, I'm never stepping on a stage again. Or you'll say, you're going to look back in 5 years and be like, dude, I played this open mic one time and like all this shit happened. Cause it's like, dude, I could tell you horror stories.
Yeah.
And I love exchanging those stories with like professionals. It's like, give me like your most embarrassing thing ever. And they're like, oh, my string broke on stage. I'm like, no. I want like, like
Gruesome.
yeah. I want like fucking full meltdown, like literally like the PA starts just like ringing like crazy. People are heading for the hills. Like, I mean, I want like horror story.
And those nightmarish moments of like, can you keep your cool? Can you recover?
Yes.
It has nothing to do with solving that problem. It comes with how comfortable do people feel with you addressing the issue? Like, I was talking to a buddy of mine, his name's Miguel. He just started DJing. He's like, man, I was having all kinds of issues with not being loud enough or not playing the kind of music people want.
Oh, yeah.
And this all kept coming up and telling me the problem I was already aware of. And it's like, part of the callus that you have to build is to be able to hear that over and over again and still very calmly go about your points of failure and describe how you're going to fix this thing.
Yeah. Now that was a big learning thing being a DJ is that like I thought people treated live musicians like shit. People treat DJs 10 times worse.
Yeah.
Way worse because
Demands.
yeah,
Truly
because
demands.
Right, because you can't get away with I don't know that one. Because you have the world at your disposal. You know, they like, people be like, play this song. And I'd be like, I don't know how to play it. And I'm like, wait, I can play any song, can't I? Okay. And then, yeah, I'll like play a song. They'll come over like, yo, dude, cut this shit out. It's like people literally would just say that to you.
Yeah.
Be like, yo, dude, this sucks. Like people say that. And it's like, God damn, I've never in my life dealt with people like this. Like I've been playing music for, years and years and years. I've played in biker bars. I've played in dive bars. I've played in shit bars. I've played all over the place. And I've dealt with rude people, dangerous people, but like, God damn, I DJ'd one wedding and these people are fucking animals. They're like, this sucks, dude, change it. They're like fucking holding up all their requests on their phones and stuff. And it's like,
yeah,
damn, dude, this is like, you feel like way less than human. Like,
yeah,
not even like, I'm just entertaining. You're like, no, I'm literally like a fucking slave up here.
Yeah, and there is some trickle effect from people have learned to treat DJs very poorly, and that's fed into how they treat musicians. But it's a very admirable thing to say, like, they definitely get the worst end of it.
Absolutely.
And my sister's boyfriend, DJ Ace Deuce, who I fucking adore. That guy's amazing.
I know.
He
Ace
just came
Deuce,
out
yeah.
with he came out with a new merch line called "I'm Not Your Jukebox."
Nice.
And I'm like, that's great, and I respect the sentiment behind that. And then other people have the more aggressive version of like, fuck your requests. And it's like, none of us are above the consumer preferences, but we all need to find out our way of dealing with people's dissatisfaction with what's going on in the current moment. Like,
so when you buy Chave lights, it comes with, how it comes with product stickers.
yeah,
The Chave sticker, it's Chave DJ. It says no requests.
nice.
And like, that's the only thing I put on my, like the top of my case. And I like put that in front of it. So it looks like almost like an official sign. Like, it's like no requests.
Yeah.
But that's what Chave literally just puts in the package with your stuff.
And it's a brutal game, and it's sad the way that people are so demanding of what they think they want, when if you really knew what you wanted, you'd be able to do this job.
Yeah.
You would have stepped into this category by now. But instead, you're just an entitled person at a restaurant saying, well, this isn't the kind of spaghetti and meatballs I thought I was getting. It's like, you can't send it back. You can't get your money back. You're either here or you're not. And I really feel for people that can't learn to like something that initially didn't have their taste to it,
Yeah, like if it's not Taylor Swift.
Dude, I played before T-Swift at Fishbowl. I pulled my cart of gear 1.5 miles out of downtown Cincinnati through millions of Swifties.
That's why I denied that gig.
I've never seen so many people under the age of 16. Okay, and also,
Danny, I love you, but I just couldn't do that.
Dude, I suffered up there, and it was
I knew you would.
it was hilarious.
I felt for you.
Because I thought I had enough. I thought I had enough
Oh, no.
T-Swift. It's like, it turns out if you don't play strictly the catalog the entire time, they're angry at you.
Yes. Not
And-
just like, oh, it's not. They are fucking mad.
Yeah.
And they want deep cuts like right away.
Yes.
It's like, I'll play Wildest Dreams. Like, Wildest Dreams is my go-to song because back in 2015, 16, Ryan Adams did an entire 1989. He covered the entire thing. So it's in like all of these arrangements that are kind of this like kind of folksy Americana rock.
Yeah.
So I do his version of Wildest Dreams, which he doesn't change the songs like a lot, which was the whole point of him doing this songs. He was like, he covered the album because he's like, these are good songs, guys. You guys always want to say like, oh, pop stars, it's shitty. It's like, no, just listen to the words. Like, these are good songs.
Yeah.
And so he covered the whole album. So I'll do Wildest Dreams, total radio hit. But then they're like, play this song, play 22, play this, play that, play that. I'm like, girls, I don't know. But I gotta say, you guys fall for the bait every time. I see a big group of girls walking down the street, say, you'll remember, and they come right in.
Now you're stereotyping. That's awesome. Good job.
Listen, in this business,
You do.
sometimes you got to.
It's part of the game is looking at someone and saying,
It's
I bet
called
I know what
reading
kind of
the
music.
room.
Yeah. And you have to make some pretty egregious choices just based on what you're looking at. But there's also like the moment someone asks for something, you should level their expectations and then exceed their expectations.
Yes.
Because if they ask for 22 and you say, yeah, I can play that, they expect it to be just like the record.
No.
If you say, I don't really play T-Swift, but, and then you start rolling, it's like,
Sure.
now we got some understanding here.
Because I do Anti-Hero as well. And the only reason I even do Anti-Hero is because I like the lyrics of that song. Mm-hmm. And
I think Taylor's one of the greatest songwriters that we'll see throughout generations. I think she's going to end up being up there with McCartney and what's Brian's name from the Beach Boys? God damn it! That won't come back to me. But still,
cut this. All of my music friends are gonna fucking kill me.
No, you're not saying, and I am.
No, I can't think of his name either. Why can't I think of his name?
It's okay.
No, it's not okay.
I'll goggle it. I'll goggle it.
That's why we need a Jamie type. You need a Jamie type here. Because, like, when we were talking about the guy who was, like, dipping gongs in the water and stuff, like...
We need the clip.
Right,
Brian
you gotta
Wilson.
pull it up. Brian Wilson,
Yeah.
duh.
And then the other
Fucking
Wilson
duh.
that hangs out with Charlie.
I remembered, like, Mike Love's name before Brian Wilson, you know?
But she's going to be the artist that surmises this path in music right now. She's going to be the last pop star of that kind of status. I think almost guaranteed. Because...
I've not seen anything like new kind of blossoming.
When I think because we have such divided ways of consuming media, with no radio, with no like consistent hits besides like the legacy. You know, they say 70% of streaming is legacy, so it's gonna
Yeah.
be the greatest albums of rock, AC/DC next to Blink-182 and my own worst enemies. Like that stuff is gonna stay exactly where it is.
Right.
But you're not going to see someone with the same cultural experience that Taylor Swift had for this entire generation of not only women, but I think a lot of male songwriters of my age, too. Like, my first concert was Rascal Flatts and Taylor Swift, and she's on the
Really?
Fearless tour. And I remember at that point in time being like, she's like
Okay.
2 years older than me, and she's got these hits.
2 years older than you.
How old was Taylor Swift?
She's like 33.
Oh, really? Okay, well, I don't fucking know.
1989, bro. 1989.
I
That
didn't
was
know
the year
that's
she
why.
was born.
I didn't know that's why it's called that. I just thought it was tasty. Okay, I thought it spelled something, some kind of numerology. I thought it was an occultist thing, to be honest.
Well, I mean, that's a whole different conversation.
If Taylor was in the Illuminati, I feel like she'd tell us.
Guys.
Bring it up. Talk about it.
Taylor
This is
Swift.
where the show really goes off the fucking edge.
Taylor Swift is the Illuminati, guys. I mean,
Solely, she's the only one.
No, but I'm saying is that, like, I mean, with all of the influence that she has and everything, I mean, it's so clear between, like, her and the NFL and every. Oh, dude, no. I mean, like there's a whole big rabbit hole that goes into it. It's
And are you saying like
way deeper than just like Illuminati, but you know.
Yeah. Well, and you're someone that dabbles in that category of conspiracy, like happily enjoying the entertainment aspect of it, but also saying like there's always a hint of truth to damn near anything.
Oh yeah.
And there's something scary to be said about the way that we are entertained by folks that take sheer profit out of our lack of living our own lives.
Oh yeah.
You know, if
It's idol worship. It's all of that shit, all kind of bottled up.
Okay, now you're getting into the Abrahamic religions, okay? We definitely have some golden calves out here. Listen. Every time I go to Home Depot, they have new commandments on sale. And I'm just saying, like, Moses broke 2 of them, so we need to have some backups, for the love of God.
What if there was more than 2? He could only just carry the 2 stones.
Dude, that'd be hilarious. Well,
Like,
I've
there's
seen
like still more sitting on top of Sinai, like to this day. Like, they're just buried under a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, man. And that's it's a weird thing too when
He came back off that man. He's like, I'm not going back up.
it's a weird thing to address that issue of like, do you have false idols? Do you have things that you perceive as holier than thou? You know,
Yeah.
people that are above your own standard
Right.
of moral integrity.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, we definitely have that. You know,
Sure.
it's like from your pop stars to your government officials. You allow other people to get away with things.
To your like Twitch streamers and podcasters and like stand-up comedians. I mean, like, you know,
I'm trying to have my own moral exceptions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, what if never mind. It was going to be an arsonist joke about burning places I shouldn't. So,
no.
but it's one of those parts of our lives right now that we don't look at as a negative thing, but it's like, if you narrow it down to the 20 people in your life that you actually spend time around and what you'd be comfortable with them telling you they've been doing while you've not been hanging out, and then still saying like, I like that person or I don't like that person.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like the dangling of the carrot that comes along with like electing people to govern things. It's
Right.
like, I don't see many of these people as good moral people. Like, I'd put my mom in there
No.
first, guaranteed. You know?
Yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't send any of my family into politics because that's just not the cloth we're cut from.
Yeah.
People don't get into politics. You don't like start from. There's no like rags to riches into politics. It's not like, you know, my father was really poor and, you know, we didn't really have shit, but I decided to get into politics. It's like, no, it's always like you come from a political background, you have a political family. It's always like in the bloodline kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know if it's always in the bloodline, but I feel like you can
Mostly.
tell from an early place whether someone is adept to that kind of thing. Like, it's weird to be an age now where I'm out of college, and there's kids that I've seen from college try to get into that world, and those people are the ones that I would normally identify as social climbers.
Yeah.
Those are the people that will hump and dump your friend group just to get on to the next.
That's the only way to get ahead in the game.
It does seem like there's some of that in life in general.
It
Or
is.
you can try to take. You can't take your whole group anywhere.
No.
But you can continue to open up your group to take on the benefits of other people's clout or leverage or opportunities in life.
Yeah.
You don't have to totally abandon the people that you love.
No. But what you were saying is that, like, you know, it's like just trying to get to like the ultimate mountaintop and like still maintaining a moral integrity is pretty much impossible. And that is the whole thing why they say it's like selling your soul and X, Y, and Z. Like, it could be like, you know, them literally like, you know, you're signing your name in blood and you have to like take pictures of you doing incriminating stuff. Or it could just be like, now I don't have control over my life anymore and I feel like I'm not even my own person anymore. It's like there's lots of levels to quote unquote selling your soul.
Dude, could you imagine being in a job interview and they're like, we did a background search and we found a viral TikTok of you doing the Benadryl challenge and you handled that super well, so we're kind of worried about bringing you on. You know, it's like
They can do that now.
We have incriminating footage of ourselves for way less purposeful reasons than world governance.
Totally.
Which is, could you imagine if there is a group of overlords just looking around and they're just seeing that happen? It's like, we didn't even fucking ask.
But
What
it's
are they
like,
doing?
but it's like when you like really like look into like the guys in Congress and like what they get busted up for all the time and shit, you're like, dude, these guys are all just like crooks, and they're all just, I mean, it's all just kind of,
It's scary.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why in 2024 I have to get off the internet, because I refuse to let people that have like a 5th grade reading level like talk to me about foreign policy or tell us how they're going to fix the country and this is what we should actually do. It's like everyone in an election year gets on their political high horse. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, I don't want to hear anything from any of you guys. You guys don't know anything that you're talking about. You're all so misguided and everything. You eat the McDonald's, you scroll on the Instagram, dude. Like, it's over. Like,
Yeah. I think
give it up.
I think the golden rule about that kind of discussion is like, don't bring it up if you're not willing to change your mind.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you're not willing to hear the other side, just don't. And also don't bring it up if you're not really well read on both sides, making
Totally.
super, you know,
And no one is.
no one is fully informed.
No.
You know, I do think like if you pour your 9 to 5 hours into doing research on these things and you want to share that opinion and you found folks that care enough to want to hear your side but also have a conversation, that's healthy. That's positive for all of us.
Sure.
But if you're someone that wants to take a family party captive and start running down your political beliefs, it's like,
Right.
I'll only give this merit when I'm pooping and laughing at you. You know what I'm saying?
And like, you know, if you're gonna then take your political stance like to the internet and to the comment sections where like all of a sudden you're just like spreading hate for just no reason.
Yeah.
Zero reason at all. It serves you not at all. You just have this kind of stance that you feel is right. And these other people that are just literally names on your tiny little screen, those words are saying stuff that I don't like. And I'm going to fucking... And then it just ruins your entire day.
Yeah, for sure. And that's...
And you're like, wow, my day is ruined because of... I was on the John, I was pooping, and I saw a video that pissed me off, and now my day is ruined. That's stupid.
Yeah. I saw a great thing from a guitar player named Phil X, who I don't know if you ever saw Phil X on YouTube. I think he used to work for a music store. Like, this dude can fucking shred. He's a Nashville session guy. He's like, when I was growing up, the number one rule was sticks and stones may break your bones, but words can never hurt you. And the second rule was, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Sure.
And it's like... those two parts of this have completely fallen by the wayside with the internet.
Yeah.
And it's hard to feel like words won't hurt you when they're part of the public permanent docket.
Yeah.
You know, where now every time someone watches that clip, they're going to go see that. And yeah, you can hide comments, you can do these kind of things,
Yeah.
but it's like there's no patrolling that. There's just acceptance of it.
Exactly. And if you're going to put yourself out there, you have to understand that is a possibility.
Yeah.
That could possibly come back on you. And I just think that a lot of people that see that kind of virality don't realize that comes with it. You know, it's like, you know, I'm just trying my best. And then they get one that does hit. And it's got thousands of views, hundreds of thousands of views. They're like, holy shit, I did it. And then all of a sudden they get like just the fucking worst death threats and just the worst hate ever. And if you're not like some type of Logan Paul influencer type where you can just be like, haters gonna hate, you're just some regular motherfucker. And then now all of a sudden you're on the receiving end of this.
Yeah.
You can't handle that.
And until that weight really hits your shoulders, you don't know what it is.
Exactly.
You know, there's no training for this.
Right. All of a sudden you're getting like weird mail sent to your house and you're like, what the hell is going on? And like, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like the Twitch thing does concern me. It's like
People are doxing your grandma. You're like, what the fuck?
Well, I at some point when I did I dropped Colorful. I dropped Colorful with a lyric video, then a music video, and I did some online ads for that in the non-American countries, assuming that like I want to go somewhere where this is a little bit alternative to enjoy. I heard the meanest stuff in the most broken of English from all these people that got my paid ad, and I'm like, turns out trying to force thing in front of people's eyes is already a bad taste. It's like, I told so many people that brought up the paid ads to me, it's like, the moment I see sponsored is the moment I start to dislike you. And you can start to turn that back the other way. But honestly, the best way to get there is, like you were talking about, put up something that's truly engaging. You know, go from there. Let people have their comment section.
Right.
And, you know, if you're big enough to not have to read it, that's great.
Sure.
I'm not at that point. I respond to everything. You know, you'll get my love whether you want it or not.
But what's really funny is that if you've seen enough podcasting clips, you see like even like the big giant guys, like, you know, like the Shane Gillises and stuff, like you hear them talking about like, you know, one fucked up comment will take me out of my whole thing. And like, you know, like they'll talk about like, do you read the comments? Like, yeah, I read the comments. Oh no, don't do that. Oh no, I don't read comments. Like, it's a big thing of like, do you read comments or not?
Yeah.
And it's like a toxic thing. It's like, they already know that like every last comment section has fucked up shit.
Yeah. Especially at that level.
In fact, that's what like made Logic, the rapper, retire.
Was mean shit on the internet?
Yeah, dude.
Does he have a song about the suicide hotline? Like,
that's what did it. Because he that was his first like big mainstream thing. He was like, you know, kind of the king of the underground for so many years, and everyone loved his stuff, and he always got this praise for being like, you know, the guy who had like these really sick bars and everything. And then he got the popularity. He got like the mainstream hit, and he got the suicide hotline song that was like mainstream radio stuff. He had never had that kind of success before. Mm-hmm. And with that came all of the shit on the back end. And he literally said, I don't even want to do music anymore. Somebody like that. It's not even like a, you know, thick skin, you know, oh, I don't read the comments. Like, even it's not immune to anyone. You could be successful for years and years and years and still reach that level and be like, fuck this, dude.
Yeah,
this is not
me.
even, nah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to someone recently about, like, I was told in college, like, you should fire bad customers. You should fire folks that don't serve the purpose of the product you're trying to offer them. And that's easier in person. When someone comes to a show and they're acting shitty to someone else, it's like, hey, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
You
now.
know, like
all the way out.
Yeah. I'm happy to call a bouncer, or I'm happy to hit you in the face with my guitar. You know, it's like there's two options here.
The first one is the better option, I swear.
Yeah, because this thing will break easy and has a very pro wrestling kind of moment in time where like it cracks on your dome, and then you're going to be on World Star, and my last single is going to blow up, okay?
Bro,
and this is going to be sweet.
I've thought about it. I mean, like the headstock of a guitar, I mean, you've definitely pricked your finger on the top of those things. Can you imagine 6 of those things coming at you at force? Like, that'd be facial reconstruction, dude.
Super WWE.
Right, but I mean, like,
way more
worse.
ECW.
Yeah, like, it'd be worse. It's like, I've thought about that, you know? It's like, I'm just a guy with a guitar. It's like, yeah, but this headstock is like 6 tiny, like, razor blades that I could just, like, eviscerate someone's face with.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird moment to be playing a song and to feel threatened by somebody. You know, it's like to be doing something so whimsical.
Yeah,
and someone approaches you like violently. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, especially if you're lower to the ground. When you're on a stage, it's like, oh, if they try to get up here, I'll kick them. Like,
Right.
there was one guy at one of the particular tenors, I can't remember where he was chest up trying to get on the stage, and I just put a boot on his chest and just, it was a gentle boot. You know, like it wasn't
like right on his head. Like,
yeah, like I made contact before I made the push. But it was like, oh, this is kind of fun. You know, this is what the zombie apocalypse can be like.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot, you know?
yeah, get the fuck out of here. Yeah.
But it's such a weird thing to feel people like being comfortable with getting aggressive is something that the phones have allowed. You know, you don't have to diffuse your own anger at home.
Yep.
You can scream about it. So when people bring that to the bar and you add the intoxication, it's like now you have some serious situations to deal with. And if the bouncers of the club you're working don't love you, they will not stick their neck out for you. They will let the situation get to a point where they have to intervene, not that they chose to intervene.
Too late.
Exactly. Now your shit's broken. Now someone's hurt you.
Because some big old country boy and his fucking like highlighter shirt, you know, and he's got like stains on his shirt and shit. He
doesn't like anti-hero, okay?
No. In fact, if you don't fucking play some old Waylon right now, he's going to punch maybe not you, but somebody.
Yeah. I asked Dante the other day. He said he'd fight somebody for you, but after they threw the first punch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good dude. No, it was such a sweetheart.
No, I always feel safe with Dante in the room because that motherfucker's big as hell.
Did I tell you about the shooting that happened a couple weeks ago when I was down there?
Yeah, you did. You texted me the next day. You were like, dude, what the hell happened? And I was like, oh, I was gone by then.
Yeah, dude, that shit was wild.
Because I asked him the next week, I was like, were you down here? He's like, no, we were gone by then too. I was like, okay.
No, that was on your Wednesday. I had a different one on my Sunday, maybe like months
Oh,
later.
different one. Oh, yeah.
And this actually ended up being comical. This guy there's 2 shots fired. He takes one to the leg. The other guy takes off down the street, throws the gun in one of like the planters, on the way out of there.
Yeah.
Where it's like, what a fun place to find a weapon, by a nice little bushel.
Yeah.
Cops catch
homeless
that guy.
finds that thing.
Dude,
oh, it's over. He's walking in the bar like, give me a beer. It's all he wants is a beer.
Dude, I one time I had a homeless guy come in wielding an American flag and a knife.
Oh,
Okay?
fuck no.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, what a combo. What a patriotic way to rob a bar.
I had this guy, he was at this biker bar out in Coleraine, and he would be screaming and he'd be tapping his leg. Like he's holding something. And that dude like shot somebody in the parking lot like the next week.
Jesus.
He was like 5'0", like total just fucking firecracker, like,
Well,
ready to pop off.
dude, that's always a scary moment when someone's been
Right.
threatening it for a while. But that's kind of like what this situation was. This guy was like, he didn't want to press charges, and he said, "Yeah, I work with that guy," and he told me if I kept bothering him, he was going to shoot me, and I kept bothering him.
That's what the guy said?
That's what the guy said to the cops. No charges pressed. Didn't go to the hospital either. In and out entry wound.
Damn.
Dude, that's
That's
a
some-
championship level Burger King staff, okay? That's HR.
Yeah. Fuck.
Dude, I couldn't believe it. I was terrified until I heard that, and then I laughed so hard.
The
and I
fact
was
that
like,
the
we're gonna be fine.
admission of guilt, right. It wasn't like some kind
Yes.
of like gangbanger stuff.
Yes, exactly. It wasn't like a hard to handle situation. You should have just left him alone.
Right.
I don't support escalating it to that extent, but I do.
At the same time,
someone that's true to their words.
right. But also like at the end of it, it's like, dude, you have the self-awareness.
Yes.
What happened?
Yes. You chose.
You're like, I just called him on his bluff. It's like, you're gonna shoot me. People say that all the time.
Dude, people do say that all the time.
I know.
It's a weird threat. Most time it's a bluff. 5% of the time it's not.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like a fun thing. Like, when you're a kid and your buddy, what do you always tell your buddies? Like, I'm gonna kill you. My mom's gonna kill me. Until someone actually gets killed, and then it's not funny anymore.
One of my groomsmen, I won't tell
In fact,
you which,
you'll probably get this thing taken down because I didn't say the word unalive.
unalived you.
Yeah, you can't say the word. You can't say the K word anymore. Like,
They'll be fine. They don't watch my shit that well. Also, like AI censorship of just like scrubbing videos and looking for keywords, like without context, isn't CNN getting taken down? Isn't ABC Family getting taken down?
no,
Like,
because nobody watches that.
damn. But what about like John Stamos clips from Full House, where he's like, "Man, I was killing this show the other night." And you're like, "No one goes to your shows, John Stamos."
Oh, I mean, it's exactly. I mean, Mike made this funny kind of observation of that video killed the radio star. You know how that was a big thing. It's like, and now there's like the short form content is killing video. But he worded it as like short form content is unaliving video because you literally can't even say the word that was like kind of the funny thing. Video killed the like you can't even say that word anymore.
Dude, that's every word has value as long as it's not like mercilessly used. It's
No, but it's
even your fucks have emphasis. You just gotta wait for the right time to fuck it up,
Right.
Didn't he get a bunch of Pornhub stuff just like recently flagged?
Yeah, he got. I mean, he's pretty much perma shadow banned on Facebook from all the Pornhub stuff. Which, what a great name for a morning show.
It was wonderful. It was also phenomenally produced. Like,
Right, and
Mike's got those pretty blue eyes, and you can just see him popping on the screen.
Yeah, and he's
the
like-
light hues.
He's a monster on the keyboard. He's like bringing up articles and
Yeah, just flying.
interacting with the chat like it's nothing.
Yeah. Well, brother, my bladder is about to explode. Is there anything you'd like to plug as we wrap this boy up? We did drink a pot of coffee.
Anything I'd like to plug? Not in particular. It is still like the first week of January, so.
Yeah. And this probably won't air till mid-February, so.
Right, yeah.
Tell them where to follow you at least.
You can follow me on Instagram at nxckbop, nxckbop. That's Nick without the I.
It's the phonetic spelling. They get
It's
it.
the phonetic spelling, right? Nick. Yeah.
Anything else to follow you on? TikTok?
Don't follow me on TikTok. I don't really I don't post a lot on there, but I'm gonna be dropping some music probably this year sometime under a name that I'm not gonna say now because I haven't claimed it yet, and if I say it, you might claim it.
Bastards.
Fuck you. So yeah.
All right, brother. I love you. Thanks for coming on.
Love you too, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching, players. If you're on Twitch, ain't this shit weird? Let me know how the fidelity was. I'm sorry that we peaked a couple times. God bless. Or whoever. Good night.